Good afternoon. Good afternoon, my villagers. I tell you, I feel so blessed to have you in the village today. I thank God every day for this opportunity to share knowledge with you. You know, we get a lot of information, not always true knowledge. And I don't have to tell you this past week has been nothing but nonsense. No knowledge as far as I'm concerned. But I'm just governed by the scripture that says my people will perish for lack of knowledge. So I'm trying hard to not allow that to happen. So I thank God for providing me the vehicle by which to bring you true knowledge. I want to thank my crew, though, Lula and Sheila and Juanita, of course, my engineer, Norm, and for providing this space for us. And, of course, my co-host, King Terry Benjamin. I really appreciate him. This has not been a good week for me, I tell you. But, of course, I want to thank my promo crew, too. I can't forget them, my little grands and nephew, Elijah, Salim, and Chastity. Want to thank them all, and you all know me. I'm Ruby Williams Shiver, John Apologetic Amateur, still looking for experts.
That's right.
Experts in Africanism. And I guess we're going to need it more seriously now than ever before.
That's right.
I was at a point, this week has been nothing but just devastation for me. Anyway, after Tuesday.
Yeah.
I was shocked. I was surprised. But after having gone through this week, I'm not shocked and surprised. This was all in the making. If I am the first to say it, let me be the first to say it. This election was stolen. See, while we were so busy trying to convince, when I say we, the Democrats, so busy trying to convince everybody else that we didn't steal the last election, which they know we didn't steal. They were doing their thing. They were figuring out, planning to steal this election with the help of Russia.
That's right.
So there's no one that's going to convince me that people, 20% of African men and 40% of Hispanic men voted for, excuse me, I got to be able to see when I'm reading something, voted for Trump. I don't believe that. But even the few who did, the 1 or 2 or 3 who did, we got to deal with that too from the perspective that what we try to do at this podcast, we try to convince people that we are in serious trouble in terms of really seriously knowing who we are. And that's not our fault. Came from 200 years of enslavement and stripping. I say that all the time because that makes us unique to anyone else, any other group that has been enslaved. The one thing about them, they were never stripped. And when you are stripped of everything, you're stripped of your heritage, your religion, your culture, your music, whatever it is you're stripped of, you just stripped. And you need to restore in a way that, and we have not done that yet. So even if 1 or 2 of our men voted for Trump, that's still unbelievable. And if 20 or 30 or 40 of the Hispanic people, who would vote against their interests?
That's right.
Really, seriously. And that many people? But in spite of it all, we have been in trouble before. We've been there, done that. So this is nothing new to us as African people. We just got to convince those of us who has kind of slacked back for a minute and don't really believe that we need to check within ourselves to see what those 200 plus years of stripping have done to us.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? We will always be at the disadvantage because the majority of our people, and the majority of our people, I'm proud to say, voted as they should have, 80%. But even the 10 or 20 that didn't, it's like Jesus with the lost sheep. You know, the 99 was there, but he had to go find the one. Well, we got to find those few of us who are still under the impression that everything is going okay when it's not. We got to restructure ourselves and put. I think things happen for a reason. You know, there's a season for everything, and this is our season to reflect, get ourselves back together, and see what we did wrong. We didn't do anything wrong, but to be aware of the trickery out there, and don't allow people to put the blame on us, because we came through as we always have. There are just folks out there, evil people, who are always contemplating our demise.
That's right. Yeah.
Excuse me.
They're working overtime.
And they're
with
working
that.
overtime with it. And when they work overtime with it, and if you're not aware, see, you can be as nice and good as you want, but if you're not aware, then you'll get caught up in something that we did on Tuesday. I was totally devastated. I tell you, I didn't watch TV when I knew that the voting was going contrary to what I thought. I just turned my TV off and I didn't watch anymore. That morning around 6 o'clock when I awakened, I saw then where, the fix was in, and then he had it. I was so distraught. And so my grandson, Askia, called me around 6. He said, Nana, how are you doing? I said, I'm not doing. And that kind of floored him. He said, really? I say, well, no. I say, because I don't even think I'm going to do my podcast anymore. He said, what? And I could tell he was frantic in his voice, but I meant it. I was feeling just that bad. And so we hung up. And on about 10, 15 minutes later, I was getting so many phone calls. I guess they thought I'd get ready out here.
Is she all right?
Yeah. I said, no, it ain't got that bad yet.
You didn't come to visit the house?
Yeah. So anyway, but around 7 o'clock, I turned it to this radio station that my producer, who happens to be my niece also, Sheila, had turned me on to the week before. And it was Sirius 126, I think.
Yes.
And
radio.
Yeah, XM radio. And I was listening to, I think, Dr. What's his name? Greg. Dr. Greg Cross, I think his name. But anyway, I'll get it correct for you, because he's one to listen to. He and his partner, they were on, and it gave a different perspective than what I had been thinking. And it was around 7 o'clock that I changed my mind again and said, no, I think I will go, because I'm back. I'm back. But what it does, but what that did for me is to recognize that there are voices out there we need to open our ears up to. The black voices, those
independent voices.
Yeah. So I'm encouraging my people, same as I was, reverse my thought, to listen to series 126 radio. Listen to WBAI 99.5.
I listen to KBLA from the West Coast.
Right.
Smiley Station.
Listen to Tyler Smiley. Listen to
Progressive Radio.
Roland Martin. Listen to whomever going to
Jason Johnson.
Yes. Just
Karen Hunter.
Karen Hunter. She's on the series radio. And those people will give you some new meaning to old ideas.
That's right.
Because sometimes we have ideas about things and we just have to hear a new perspective.
That's right.
It is weird what is going on in our lives now. When you can elect someone who convicted felon, a rapist by description, a liar,
a sociopath,
and you can do that without shame. There's something else going on. It's not the policy. And see, we need to stop that. Stop saying it's policy. It's not policy. It's racism, clear and simple.
That's right.
There's nothing. White supremacy, want to maintain that white supremacy, and they fearful now that with all the people who are coming in and the ones who are already in, that it will create a majority against minority against majority.
That's right.
They are now the majority. So they are not about that, and that scares them. And we understand that. We can't allow. Listening to The View, that's basically the only station that I listen to now.
Yes.
But Sunny Hostin, she's steadfast in her determination not to classify anything other than just racism, clear and simple. But she's fighting against like 4 or 5 of the other one who trying to include other things in. And it's difficult for her, I can imagine. She has a job and she has to, report to people.
That's right.
So, but she's trying so hard to make the point that don't blame. How can you blame even the Democrats against a person like Trump. It wasn't really a Republican-Democrat situation. It was a Trumpter Democrat.
It was a power play.
Yeah, so how can you blame the Democrats when Trump was the protagonist in this particular thing?
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
so we can't you know, move away from that without being honest that we have some serious issues
Yes, we
to
do.
deal
Yes,
with.
we do.
And the issues around what we got to deal with follows the pattern of the last 400 years. There's nothing
new.
different.
There's nothing new.
Racism.
Well, the Bible
And we
says nothing
got
new
caught
under the
up in
sun.
thinking that we had overcome it when we got Obama
Yeah, no.
and other folk.
We
So
got
we just
caught up
assumed that
in
that
the-
was
yeah.
done with.
Yes,
But they
yes.
weren't assuming.
No,
They
no,
were
no,
trying to
they
figure
working.
out how can we
Working day and night.
regain the little pieces that we had they had lost.
Yes, yes.
Because they hadn't really lost anything. We were still under the gun. But they don't even want to give us that privilege. And I understand that through this administration, when it comes in, it's going to eliminate all of those programs that they call handouts to us. Nothing a handout to us.
The
but
2025 project
yeah.
is all in there.
It's all in
spelled
there.
out. Yeah,
And they're
it's all
going to
spelled out.
eliminate the affirmative action. Well, if we had reparation, we wouldn't even need. And maybe, see, God works in mysterious ways. Maybe he's going to have us concentrate on reparation. Because we get reparation, we won't need the affirmative action and all that other
And they want to
programs.
get rid of the Department of Education.
Yeah.
What we need to do is take our education in our own hands.
Yeah.
We live in a country that it laws mandates that we stay in school until high school.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and some of us get around that. So after high school, your education is up to you. Maybe we got to realize that.
Yeah.
In a very real way.
Yeah.
You know?
And we got to start our education from the, they say from the cradle to the grave.
Yes,
We got to
have
start
to.
with
We
our
have to.
young kids. That's what
Yes,
we are
yes,
doing
we do,
now
yes.
in the school I established, and who is the
I call it Freedom School. You know?
Freedom School.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
And what we're doing as teaching our children before they leave the house, who they are
Yes,
and whose they are.
They need that.
And they need that because that would carry them through whatever they are trying to take away from us.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
So we got to do that.
We got a lot of work to do, but we can do it.
We can do it.
We can do
And our show today, do we have our guest yet? We're trying to wait for our guest who is supposed to be on, Darthane Kirk. But I guess not, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we are still waiting for the sister to hook up. Sometimes this technology is not what it's apt up to be.
But it's a beautiful idea, though.
It's a beautiful idea,
When
but
it works,
sometimes when it works,
well.
it works, and
But
when
again,
it doesn't,
I
it
think what you're
won't.
saying is that, again, we have to save ourselves. Okay,
Yeah.
nobody is going to save us but us.
Right.
So we got to put our best minds together, put our best ideas together. We have to build institutions.
Well, see, one of the things, Terry,
Yeah.
you hear this sometime, I hear quite a lot.
Yeah.
We're not monolithic people. See, you're not monolithic, then I guess the technical term would be polyolithic, you know?
Or just spread all over the place.
And my mom would take a term from my mama and says scatterbrain. I
right.
prefer to use her term.
Yes.
You're more explicit and you know what you're talking about. And that scatterbrainness didn't come by choice. We didn't just become scatterbrain.
No.
It comes from the 200 years that we had of stripping.
That's
I
right,
keep
that's right.
going
Yeah,
back
yeah,
to
yeah,
that
yeah,
because
yeah,
until we understand that, we were stripped. We were stripped of our heritage, our language, our culture, our religion. And if you are stripped of all that, and after we were stripped,
Yes,
then they put. What did our brother say? Brain dirt in us. Yeah. They
Well, the
replenished
brain-
us
brain-wise,
with the
brain
brain.
dirty. Yeah.
After they stripped us,
Yeah.
they replenished
Doesn't
the
the Bible talk
emptiness.
about a double-minded person?
Yeah,
You can't be
With the-
double-minded. Right?
they
You
replace.
got-
So
you-
that's where we are now. That's where we are
gotta
now.
Be focused. We got to
And
be focused.
I did never decide. I had decided not to write a sixth book, but I guess my sixth
You
book
might
will
have
be
to.
damaged goods made in America.
Yes,
We
yes,
got to
yes,
understand
yes,
that we
yes.
were damaged, and no fault of ours. But the truth of the matter is that damage will show in some ways
Different ways,
that will surprise us at some point. So it's not our fault. We did what we were supposed to do with this election. First of all, it was stolen. Secondly, for the small amount of people who may have gone in the other direction, obviously, when you know better, you do better. And if they didn't know better, they didn't do better. It's simple as that.
Or they thought they would get an advantage that they would not get. But the advantage is for the billionaires. You know, those are the ones who conspire to steal this election, as far as I'm concerned, because they have a vested interest in it. They want to hold on to the money.
Yeah.
You're talking about, tax cuts, and they like those tax cuts. They like to keep that money circulating. And a lot of some of our black millionaires didn't say anything because they're waiting to see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
They held their voices too.
Yeah. Well, again, even they. I don't want to point to any finger at black folk, period, until we clean our minds of this 200 years of stripping. Then we have to say, I said in my book, the two words I define, excuse and explanation.
Exactly. Yes,
people will say some of our people are making excuses. I say there's no excuse for us as African people, the explanation.
Yes.
Excuses when white privilege is your foundation.
Yeah, right. I agree.
And the explanation is when slavery is your foundation.
Okay.
So we've been, we've been under the gun, and we haven't had anybody anywhere that was clear our mind to the extent. And I make analogies.
Yes.
God gives me this opportunity to pick the analogies to me. And that pandemic, it was one of the best. Because when that pandemic came through, it was so unreal, so unique, unprecedented, they want to say, than anything else that had ever happened. And we knew right away we needed someone to come in who we thought had the expertise to come and help us get through it.
That's right.
And, of course, they did as far as I was concerned. That's where the vaccine came in and everything.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Now,
exactly.
think about our situation. It was worse than any virus. Worse than even that pandemic, because we was 400 years or so under the gun.
That's right.
And we were brought over from our homeland.
Yeah, right. Just,
the greatest people in the world got the greatest mathematician, the greatest scientist, the greatest this, the greatest that.
Yeah.
We were brought from that and set in this place called the Americas. And when they stripped our behind over the time and reinstated us with this kind of garbage,
yeah.
you know,
and indoctrination.
Indoctrination. And brain dirtying and all that, then what do you expect? You get what you put into something. And they put that into us. And but even so, after having done that, we still come out better than any of them who tried to do that to us.
I agree. No doubt.
We just need some help amongst ourselves to go further.
Yes.
We got to go farther than what we have done.
Yeah.
But we know too that too will change, and maybe this is an opportunity. That's what we got to start looking at it as an opportunity.
I mean, I see it as a reboot. Okay.
Yeah.
We got to reboot. We got to reboot, and we got to come back into the game. But come back with a more focused agenda.
Yeah.
We can't be double-minded. We can't be trying to please the massa.
Yeah.
And we got to be.
Well,
focused.
don't you think like what our show is all about?
That's what it is.
There's got to be something done to us before we can expect our people to have that kind of common sense. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
we
need
just
the vaccination.
Got to recognize that that something happened to it.
Yeah, definitely.
We got to recognize that, and once we understand that, there are after effects to it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't guess our guests could get connected. Well, we'll see. Okay. Since they're probably
we shall carry on.
Yeah.
But the thrust of the program was going to be that we went through this terrible event, and now we need to regroup. And one of the things I was suggesting that there are things that we have invented that they can't take away from us. And one of the things was our music.
Well, see, what our show today was going to be, if our guest had been able to come on, is reflective of what my pastor called our sophisticated way of worshiping.
Okay.
He said we're sophisticated in our faith.
Yeah, yeah.
I was in church. So that was I thought it was kind of telling that we would describe ourselves as such, knowing though that what he meant was we have the ability. We can cry and praise at the same time.
That's right. That's
And
right.
really,
That's
that's
right.
what that's been our history. Because when you think about it, that's where this music came about.
Of course, of course.
Spirituals.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, in times of very dear times of where we were in, we had to learn how to praise at the same time as when we were, in dire strait.
Of course, yeah.
And
yeah.
then the jazz,
Yeah, jazz.
and the spiritual, the jazz, and the blues, all of that.
All that. And then even when we were in the field, the work songs.
Yes,
There's
yeah.
work songs that
Yeah.
propelled us.
Rap
There's
now.
rap.
Uh-huh.
There's gospel music that have
Yeah.
messages, you know.
Yeah, messages
You know,
too.
there's a meeting over yonder.
Yeah.
What it means, we want you to meet us at a certain place.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. So I was excited to get. And I thought we would have our guest on, but you can talk about that a little bit. We probably
yes,
have her
I'd
on
be
next
glad to.
week.
Yeah, because one of the things that we were trying to do today for you, our villagers and our friends, we were going to present one of the founders of WBGO. You know, this WBGO has been going on for a long time, you know, and it's the situation is still going on. You know, there's jazz, but on the weekends there's what they call rhythm and blues, and Felix Hernandez for Saturday, Sunday for 4 hours. There's the R&B music. And my thing, as you well know, I write a musical blog, and every day I write about our music.
Yeah.
And this whole week, I'm writing about Quincy Jones.
Okay,
You know,
yeah.
because
he's a-
here was a man who spanned all of it. He did it all. He did pop. He did jazz. And the thing is that when he died, he had other projects in the works, and I hope that his family, you know, will finish that. But the point I'm making is that I believe that what's going to help us is to develop institutions, you know, institutions of knowledge, institutions of lessons we learned in the past. You
Right.
know, because again, WBGO is an institution.
Okay.
I remember
Well, so
one
you're familiar with the guest that was coming on today.
Oh,
Give
as
me
a
a
matter
little-
of fact, I was going to show her this. This is a program that she did, and this is from 1995.
Okay.
It was a program called Jazz for Kids,
Okay.
and I brought my son to that program every Saturday, and he learned the power and the appreciation for good music.
Okay.
Because not all music is good music.
That's for sure. That's
You know,
for sure.
But he learned good music,
Uh-huh.
and the woman that we were trying to get on was the widow of Rahsaan Roland Kirk,
Okay.
who was a great jazz musician. I told you he would come on stage with 3 horns around his mouth and around his neck, harmonica in his mouth, and sometimes he would play flute through his nose.
Oh,
And he wasn't
okay.
trying to be a sideshow. He was just showing through his breathing that he could bring all this about. And so we'd have this Saturday program, and his widow was the community relations person. And I share that to say that, you know, again, institution, there has to be things that we built that cannot be taken away from us, and that can be appreciated. Sometimes I think we take for granted our music. Jazz is more celebrated in other countries than is here,
Yeah.
and especially by us, because I go to a lot of jazz concerts, and I tell you, I go there, and 80% of the audience is white.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason for all that. See, again, I look at it from a perspective that people wouldn't do things against themselves if they knew better. They do
Okay,
better.
I hear you. I hear you.
See, that's my whole thought. Always when I see.
Well, that's a good thought.
Yeah.
That's a
Well,
good
when
thought.
I see something out of the ordinary, not acting, you know, to me, with sense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Scatterbrain. So I call it the way I see it, and I know that there's a reason, because I don't see anyone should act in their, you know, not act in their best interest. That's my first thought. And when they are not doing it, in particular, since I read so much about what that stripping
of
did.
course, yes,
See,
yes,
unlike, we have to continue to know that. There have been a lot of people who've been enslaved, you know, and even our people, some of them will say, well, we enslaved each other, you know, Africa. But it's a
we
different
heard
from what we
different type of
went
slavery.
through.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
yeah.
why I am so dead set on us trying to redefine the period what we went through, because obviously it was not slavery if the other folks are calling what they went through slavery. See, if you notice our Jewish friends, they know that there was a different, what they went through, they call it the Holocaust.
Holocaust,
And they
yes,
really
yes.
don't allow any other people to use that term.
That's right.
Or they
That's
get
right.
offended because they know that was a difference.
was
in
unique to them.
Unique to them.
Yeah, yeah.
What was unique to us was the fact that not only were we brought over and chained and enslaved, we were stripped, unlike any other group that I've read about, or in on this earth, or in biblical history. You know, so which takes us to another level in terms of what we have to do for ourselves.
That's right.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
and when we don't know the history, I mean, particularly our young people certainly
Yeah,
don't know
right.
the extent to their worthiness.
Yeah.
You know, you know, when I learned sometime in my teen years that we were the original human being on
That's right, that's
place
right.
on the
Yeah,
planet of this
that's right,
earth by
that's
God
right.
Himself.
Yes, the
I
original
say,
man.
really? Yeah, the original man. So they need to know those kinds of things. Then the ones that maybe not feeling so good about themselves because they combat all this negative stuff that going on around them and about them. How would you think they would know? So it's good to know that, not to gloat, but just to have some balance and
No, I mean,
reverence.
just like you said, but we have to have that awareness, because
Right.
if we don't, we're going to miss this moment. Because
Yeah.
when I heard what happened, you know, I'm thinking, this is taking us back to the 60s,
Yeah,
where we
yeah.
had to go in the street. And again,
Yeah.
and I have to say that there are people who died for my education.
Yeah.
What I mean by that, because of the riots,
Yeah.
they had to give us something.
Yes.
So they gave us the education opportunity fund program.
Yeah.
They gave us scholarships to sort of not. They could sort of like try to balance things out. They
Yeah.
could never balance it out, but we were given opportunities.
Yes.
I would never have gone to school if it wasn't for the opportunities
Yeah.
that were a result of the rebellion or
The
the rise.
struggles that we got
So we might have to do maybe this would be rebellion 2.0.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
but now we're more sophisticated.
And knowing how to do, we're more intermixed with the society too. See, they could do certain things back in the day, and we didn't have any backup. We didn't have anyone like in the FBI or in the or government or in the police department.
Yeah.
We was dependent on them to protect us. But now the one thing they have allowed is to get a foothold, a toehold into the system.
That's
that there's not going to be so easy for them
you're
to
right,
manipulate as they have,
Yes.
or to affect us in ways, negatively ways that they did. I've heard some things going on through Facebook and other media now about coming for us. They are warning us that they're going to come for us and put us back on the plantation.
They sent out I guess a post was saying to report to a certain station, certain plantation.
Right.
Now, a lot of this is from trolls.
Yeah.
Those who just say these things, and they hide behind the anonymity of the internet. 'Cause
Right.
you can post anything. I mean, there's some people I know, they have like 5 different Facebook names and posts.
Really?
Yeah. And you can.
I
do
can
that.
barely keep it with my one.
right. What was that password?
Right.
Yeah, but there's people who do that, and then there's just the cowards who will put out this stuff and think that they may be protected. But the thing is, they got to understand that there's different levels of this society. There's those billionaires, there's those millionaires, then there's the middle class, and then there's the what they call the underclass.
Right.
And the thing is, you got to find out, like they said, you got to see where you fit in.
Yeah.
Because hopefully, when you find out what you fit in, you will act in your own best interest. But like you're saying, people, they know where they are. They know that they're not up there, but they won't do things that act in their best interest because they think that they're being protected.
Yeah.
And some of us, we don't want to make too much noise because we bring attention to ourselves, realizing now, as far as I'm concerned, because of this election, everything is out there and open as far as I'm concerned.
Everything is out in the
there.
open. It
So
sure is.
No point in covering up. Let's be bold.
And
They're being bold.
as far as those 40% of Hispanics that not registered, claim to have voted for Trump.
That's
First
scary.
of all, I don't believe it.
Yeah,
I don't
well.
believe that 40%. But even if 20%, that's much too much. Much too
It's
many.
too much. It's too much.
And if they don't understand what Trump has already said, the one thing we can say about Trump, he's a liar because he lies in everything he said. But the one thing he did tell the truth about was what he intended to do if he got to be president.
Yes.
He said he was going to be a dictator.
That's right.
He said he was going to send all those million of people back.
That's right.
He done said it. He laid it out.
And he putting people in place to do that.
Yeah. So you can't say, well, he slow walked us on that one. He slipped that one in. No. He didn't do that. He was very clear, which makes me know then that I doubt that 40% of any group that know they are subject to what he said that he was going to do would do that. You know, that common sense would tell you that.
Well, I never believed in those polls and
No.
the things.
And then the
happened.
20% of black
crazy.
men, you know,
Yeah,
I mean, give me a break. They know already. Majority of them know that they can't go out here not only at midnight, any other time of the day. Look over their shoulder and see a police in back of them and be feel safe.
Never,
Now
never.
it's going to be open season.
You know it. That's right.
He made it clear he's going to turn it loose.
That's right. Yeah,
So I don't believe that black men, you know, with all their disadvantages, would even think that $1 if they thought he gave them $1 more in their pocketbook.
Which he didn't.
Which he didn't. He did not do it at all. The money that they got was from, you know, the government.
Government, yeah, from Biden's government.
Biden government, and he signed the
He
checks.
just signed a check. Yeah.
You know, so certain things it was obvious. You know, I don't believe they assumed that he had any love for them. Well, he doesn't have any love for his own. I'm convinced that he does not have any love for anyone. He'll put anyone under the bus that needs to be under the bus.
Yes.
But to the extent he knows that to get what he wanted and to be a dictator, like his friends are, are. And he's very clear about that.
That's right. Yeah. Well,
So
that's what he
wasn't-
wants. He
yeah.
admires those people. He admires
Yeah,
Putin.
he
He
said
said,
he
you know,
did. He
Orban,
said he
you know,
did.
if
He
he's
said he did.
whatever he says goes. And I think, you know, we live in a society, even though you may be the president, you still have, there's checks
Yeah.
and there's
Well,
balances.
there were checks and balances
Like,
until the
you're trying to get rid
Supreme
of those. Yeah,
until
yeah.
the Supreme Court got rid of all that and said that he was he has no law that he need to abide by.
Well, you know, the first thing he's going to do is pardon himself, all those different charges and whatnot. He's going to get rid of as many
Well,
as he
yeah.
can.
Well,
you know?
naturally,
All the
that I
federal
can't
cases, you know
blame him
that.
for. I can't say I blame him for that
Well, he
one.
didn't have trouble with some of the state charges. You
Yeah,
know? The
and
federal, he can
and,
get
and
that
that's going
straight.
nowhere.
Yeah.
And in terms of pardon, now Biden is having an opportunity to pardon his son. I don't know why he would think about it twice.
Hey,
I don't
do
know
it,
why he would do it.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, let it be your parting shot. You know, hey, my son is
First
free.
of all, with
goodbye.
what he did, he had no business being, brought.
No, nobody
to
else would be.
be if it's
That's
not
the sad
for his
thing about it.
name.
So that
Exactly.
whole thing was political.
Yeah.
So
very
if that was
political.
political, let's have a political solution to that.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
I mean, Biden, he can't be shy right now.
No.
I would say do as much as you can before you leave that office, and you have the time.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't like my mom said, you can't play nice now.
No, you can't play nice. And particularly with your son, you know his situation. It was basically drugs.
That's right.
And a lot of them know that had been a issue with a lot of people's children and themselves.
Yeah.
So that, there's no question about what he should do around pardoning his son.
That's right.
And
get rid of more of that student debt. You can do that.
Yeah.
You can do a lot of things. As a matter of fact, you can even appoint some Supreme Court justices.
Yeah.
As your parting.
Well,
body,
I don't. You mean the Supreme Court justices?
Yeah. He can support. He can actually appoint some justices if they go through the process. The thing is, the process is so long that he probably run out of time.
Right, and plus, he is still a majority. Senate with.
Yeah.
So they would be the one that have to.
It would be a lot to do because first of all, I mean, he could do it, but he had to go through the Congress and the Senate and that kind of thing. So it would
You mean
probably be
to
bigger.
state Supreme Court
Yeah,
justice?
yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant the Supreme Court.
No, state.
Yeah,
state,
because
you can do that.
Yeah.
But again, I think again, I just think that he's just going to play nice to the end, and I don't think we
Yeah.
can afford that.
Yeah, well, we'll see. And if they continue to allow, well, there's not a lot they can do about it. Not here, though. I mean, what's his name is out of the barrel now, you know. So, but to allow Trump to have run, that
At
should
all,
have been the
at
first
all,
order of business. You know, you can't get a media job
Mm-hmm.
with
With a
that
felony,
record.
yeah,
with
yeah,
that
yeah.
record.
You can't
with
even get a
any of the
job
records that he
in a
has.
supermarket with
No,
a
you
felony,
can't. You
with a
can't.
felony
And,
a charge against you.
Right. And that they allowed, let me tell you that it had that been on the other way, the
Oh, man,
Republicans, they would have found a way to eliminate.
Oh, no doubt about it. No, it wouldn't have got that
Wouldn't
far.
have got that far. It just would not have gotten that far. Now, do I have in my group people on my villagers?
Our villagers, I know you're listening, and you know
Listen,
we need to see you. Hey,
Well,
there you go. There you go.
Glenore.
Oh,
Let me
okay,
say,
yeah.
just read that. Large happy Veteran Day. That is, you reminded me. Happy Veteran Day to all you great veterans out there for your service, what you did. Taraka Gilbert, Dr. Greg Kroc, and Dr. Greg Carr, that's his name, and
Dr.
Karen Hunter.
Yes.
Okay. Glenn say, salute to all the veterans. Salute, respect, thank you for your services. And yes, white, know they are the minority, not the majority since. They found out in the late 50s and 60s, so they came up with COINTELPRO in COINTELPRO in late 60s. Infiltration of the white power movement, the black movement, the shave movement through drug, jail, separation through poverty. Great
all of that,
great point. Yeah, we got to know all that.
You need
Robert
to.
Cabbage Stock said, we're watching Sheila to all the veterans. Happy Veterans Day.
Yes.
Yeah, happy Veterans Day to you, because that's another area where this, person that we're going to have to call now president is not too keen on. That's the way he talks about
He
him.
wants to control the military.
Juanita, assalamu alaikum, Sheila, to all the veterans. Okay, we appreciate you all for tuning in. We had prepared for you all a guest, a fabulous guest, a jazz expert,
Yes.
and she was co-founder of
WBGO, the jazz
BGO.
radio station. Yeah.
That is now
88.3.
still prominent in
Yes,
Newark,
it is very
New
much,
Jersey.
very much so.
We will have her on at some point, but we can't control the technology sometimes. It's
But
good
again,
when
yeah,
it's
but
when it's
as
good.
you see, we still carry on because
Yeah.
we do have a platform, and I
Yeah.
think that in this day and age, we need more people who have platform. That's why we're going to reach out to Dr. Craig Carr
Oh,
and,
yes.
and Karen Hunter, and
Yes,
want to even see Gary Bird on this. Says definitely want to bring back James McIntosh.
yes,
you know,
definitely.
Betty Dobson.
Yeah.
These are people who have continued
Yeah,
the fight that was begun in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't stopped.
yeah.
You
Group
know, and I
called
think that's a
Simultap. They
testament, yeah.
committed to eliminate media offensive toward African people.
Yes.
So yeah, we are still in the fight, and as I often say, I have to recognize groups like the Nation of Islam.
Yes.
One
They're
of the,
still
I
there.
guess it's the only group that you can consider the independent
That's right. Yeah.
of the
Because
system.
they still publish a newspaper,
still-
Final Call.
yeah.
They
and
still have that newspaper.
they're still out there, and I can appreciate that because
more
just
so.
because other folks may deny or try to malign our people,
Yes.
we don't have to be a part of it. We don't have to be a part of it. We may not agree with everything they are doing or everything anybody's doing. I don't agree with everything my church does. You know what? I'm a Christian church, and one of the
because
things I want.
there's a bigger picture.
Yeah,
You
the
know?
bigger picture is what you're doing. In terms of bring to remind me sometimes, I could have easily been a Muslim.
Oh, okay.
Nation of Islam, because in the 60s when we were confused, a lot of us was about how we were embracing the religions, the faith-based situation, and a lot of my friends became Muslims.
Muslim, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
A lot of my friends as well. Yeah.
And I stayed where I was only because even at that time, I knew there had to be some other answers.
Yes.
I knew a lot of when that happened, we were told that as Christian, that was the white man's religion.
Yeah.
And we
I heard
didn't
that
know
before,
any
yeah,
better.
yeah.
We've heard it a lot of times. But we know now, my pastor who came about 3 years ago, Pastor Quick, he been teaching us a whole lot of stuff.
Yes,
I
yes.
knew it already, but I'm so glad he bringing it. He has these classes that come in now,
Yes,
African studies.
Yes, yes, yes.
But he told us about how the origin of Christianity is from Egypt.
Yes, yes.
You know,
And
just
that's
the way
Africa.
Africa, from Africa.
That's right.
I
Yeah,
knew it was something that made me stick to it. Because when I didn't change, I said to myself, "Well, if I go there, we know that's not original religion.
No, that's not.
We know this is not the original
No,
religion.
no.
That we knew it in Africa.
No, no. So let's go to the source.
Let's go to the source."
Yeah,
So that's why I don't really try to deny anybody's faith or whatever they want to believe in, because we know there was an original faith-based group calling themselves other things from Africa, because
Yes,
where it
yeah,
all
yeah.
started.
Yeah, that's right. That's,
And when
that's origin.
Christianity was brought over, just like Islam, it was bastardized by the people who enslaved them.
Yes, yes. Yeah, they used it for their own ends, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a whole lot we all have to learn as black people about our history and how the connection of other folks who invaded us.
That's right. That's right. Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
the
yeah.
Arabs, the Europeans,
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
the
yeah.
whoever.
All that.
You know, we got to
Yeah, yeah.
understand that. That way we won't, report.
Yeah.
But to the extent that we're all doing pretty good now.
Yeah, yeah.
We-
And it's interesting because I know, I flirted with the Muslim religion because when I was about 18 or 19, I found this book called How to Eat to Live by Elijah Muhammad. And that book has really served me because in that book, he says that you should definitely not eat pork, okay? And that you should eat one meal
Well,
a
now,
day.
see, that's the thing that kind of...
Yeah, that's way a lot of people.
That was-
But the point I was saying, but they
That
were
would
just
be
saying,
part of the company.
not to live to eat, but to eat to live. And now we understand that, in terms of longevity, a lot of us are doing better because we are changing our diets.
Yeah. Well, you know,
Drinking more
pork
water,
was
that
not
kind of
our
stuff.
diet when they brought us over here.
I know.
Pork was not our
I
diet.
know.
Pork, we was introduced to that through our European connection.
Of course.
And then after it happened, we had, like we always have done, we managed to,
we
take
got
the,
creative with it. We got inventive. We got the hog maws
very
and
inventive
the
people.
chitlins
Yeah.
and what.
So now it's a delicacy, and
In some quarters it still is.
still is a delicacy.
still is,
So it's about what you have adapted yourself to doing out of situation like we was in.
That's right. That's
So
right.
we couldn't say, "Well, I'm not a pork eater," because we were any eater because we were trying.
That's all
to
we
survive.
had.
That's all we had.
Yeah.
So we have to understand that, and to the extent that we just got to recapture ourselves
That's
as
right.
the authentic ourselves, not after we've been over here for 400 years or something, then going to try to claim what we are.
No.
We got to go back.
It's just be
To
be authentic. You
Yeah,
know,
got to
and
go back before they stole us and brought us over, and
That's
then
right.
we can talk about what original and what not. But other than that, we are product. We're a product of our situation
But
here.
we have to see. But I think this is beautiful because we have a platform to do that.
Yes,
we have a
very
platform,
exactly. Praise
and-
God
yeah,
and thank God
Yes,
for the
yeah,
platform.
and so therefore, I know that we're going to bring on guests to help us to deal with
Yeah,
this because
yeah.
I mean we have no choice.
Yeah.
We will deal with this situation like we dealt with other situations, and this
Yeah.
next 4 years is going to be challenging.
Yeah.
But there's nothing that we can't handle.
We can handle, and we got to understand that it's going beyond 4 years. See, it's 4 years that even if he gets out in 4 years, what he had going to put in, and he makes
He
it very
wants that
clear,
to be forever.
it will be lasting for a long
That's
time.
right, because that man,
Yeah.
that MAGA mentality.
Yeah, it will be
gotta
lasting
fight with that.
because if he get a chance, and he will now get a chance to put more judges on the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Because Clarence Thomas and those have already, they want to retire, but they didn't want to retire on the Democrat because they know that they would put Democrat in.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
now
yeah,
they're
yeah.
going to retire, and
That's
he's
right,
going
that's
to
right.
put those young
Yes,
judges
yes,
in
that's
there
right, yeah,
of
yeah,
his
yeah. So
liking.
you're talking about the next 20, 40 years
Yeah.
in terms of that,
Sure.
Yeah, but I can see Clarence Thomas now retiring.
No, he
know?
he made that
He
clear
talked
that he
about
kind of
that
wanted
before.
to do that, but he knew he wasn't going to do. And see, when we have opportunities, again, I'm not trying to dictate what anyone should do, but we know what our best interest. So
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
I am trying to dictate. So in any case, when the attorney Ginsburg, Yeah.
They should,
The one who passed, yeah.
the one who passed.
They had suggested that because she was ill, and they had suggested
she
she
was definitely
leave out.
failing,
And she didn't.
Yeah,
Why hold on when you know that would make it better for your people?
that was a big problem. Yeah.
That was a problem. And now they appointed someone in her place. And Garland, when they rejected Garland,
Oh, man.
they didn't fight enough. I'm glad they didn't get him, but I mean, they didn't fight enough.
But he came back as Attorney General, and I tell you, he's the worst.
He's the worst.
Because he could have eliminated Trump altogether.
Yes.
But he just dragged his foot, and now we're in a situation where, and I haven't heard anything from him. I mean, where's Garland?
Yeah, where is he? Yeah,
You know?
scared. I know what it is. He's scared under a bed somewhere.
Exactly.
Because
He's
now
like,
they
"Oh."
know. I mean, you make no mistake about it. They know that Trump will. He said going after his enemies.
Oh yeah.
He means he's going to do that. He's not lying about it. Like they will hesitate.
Because he's going to clean house. Yeah, he's going to get
He's
all
going
the
to
people
clean
in the
house.
administration.
And he's
so
going to do.
Garland's going. You know that.
And he's going to do things that they wouldn't even dream that he's going to do. Because he's going to try to find. Well, he tried to do that. Even so with Biden and those. He tried to find things on them that he could bring them up on charges.
Of course.
And if you look hard enough, what they say about a prosecutor gonna
You'll find
indict a ham sandwich.
Ham sandwich.
Yeah. So if that's the
right.
case, if they can
That's right.
indict a ham sandwich,
sandwich,
then they can indict a person like a Biden or whomever else, because they can find something on somebody. And they're going. He said he's going to do it,
Yeah.
and I think because he wants to ensure that he will not be the only president in this century
That's been indicted.
described as indicted. He wants someone else to go down with him.
And it's so funny because what happened, he's putting some things where, like with the president immunity, but Biden should understand that. I mean, he might have immunity too, so you could do something dirty.
He could have.
You could just say,
He
well,
could have.
I have president
Yes, he could.
immunity.
Yeah, and he should have
Worked that system.
Worked that system, so at least it would have shown the Supreme Court what could possibly happen if they wanted to.
Exactly.
Because Trump is going to do it now.
You know that, but
He's
I
determined.
hope Biden is definitely thinking about pardon for his son. Though. I mean, if
Yeah.
he's not thinking about that, I don't know what he's thinking.
I don't know. I don't know what he's thinking. Yeah, but we got
That's
to.
my son. I'm gonna get my son out of that.
Right.
Out of that fix.
Yeah.
'Cause Trump would do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, but this again, this has not been a real good week for me. But what it has shown me is that we do need to advise our people
Yes.
on things that going to help them. And one of the things is that what I did when I was so discouraged, and then I listened to Black Voices, as I said, the different radio
progressive
stations,
voices,
and
yes,
progressive voices, and it just kind of changed my whole way of thinking about the situation that we find ourselves in.
Yes.
So I would suggest that you listen to those the places where the WBAI 99.5, Cyrus 126, and the places that you mentioned.
Even WBGO, as quiet as kept, they don't just do music, but they do programs.
Right.
And again, everything is progressive to the point where we need to, I guess, say, reboot now. We need to check.
And I find even with my church, it is very progressive.
Very progressive.
My pastor, like to say, had been done that before Tuesday.
Yes,
we have been involved with what we are talking about now,
That's
even before
thing.
Tuesday.
Beautiful thing.
We have this weekly on Saturday. I go to the African study workshop,
That's beautiful.
where he brings in all the top level Africana folk.
Self-education.
Yeah,
That's what we need.
from
We need that.
Princeton. The last one from the he has the Afro Study Department in Princeton.
Oh man, that's great.
Well,
That's
man,
great.
this is free.
Yeah.
This is something that if you went to
beautiful.
a school, you would be paying thousands of dollars to get this knowledge.
Yes.
But these people, we provide this from First Baptist Church of Lincoln Garden
that's
for
beautiful.
free.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. And and this has been going on since he's been here. So, and then he has a lot of programs like mental health programs in the church.
That's so
He has a lot of
important. That's so
missions
important,
in that church that just fantastic, and that is what we believe that's going to have to happen throughout, because it's been the churches over time
Well, that's been always
that
been a
have
refuge.
saved
Yeah,
us.
yeah,
That been our
the
refuge,
our salvation.
our
Yeah,
salvation,
yes,
been
please.
our schools, been
That's
whatever
right,
we
whatever
needed.
we needed.
that's
It
where
was-
we
it was-
went.
It was right there.
And it kind of got away from that because we had other things pulling after us, fooling us that they were in our best interest when all they were doing
they
trying
call
to
them
control
social
us.
services.
Yeah.
And, we
Trying
don't
to
need that.
control us.
Yeah, it's gonna control
But
us.
to the extent that we made use of them,
Mm-hmm.
and now we can advise our children to look toward the heaven.
That's right. That's right.
Seriously,
That's
you
right.
know,
Yeah.
and believe that we weren't just put here for nothing.
No, we weren't. No,
Yeah,
no.
and there's a season for all things.
That's right.
This
That's right.
today is just not our season, I guess. But we're gonna rebound
But
and
does the
come
Bible say
back.
that this too shall pass?
That's too shall
Okay,
pass,
so this will
and I
pass,
believe it.
and we're gonna be victorious. We'll be
Victorious.
triumphant.
Yes, I truly believe that.
Because I'm ridiculously optimistic.
Oh, yeah, gotta be. I guess that's
Ridiculously optimistic.
uh-huh.
No
Well,
matter what
that's who
happens.
we when you look at our history over this situation, we have no choice. We have no choice
Yeah,
if we
what's the
don't be
alternative?
optimistic.
No,
Yeah,
no,
I
no.
tell you. But it's all too gonna this too will pass,
That's right.
and
That's
we
right.
just have to keep our eyes open
Mhm.
and speak out when we need to.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't
And
be
we have
shy.
support of our villagers out there.
Yeah.
We know you're out there.
Yeah.
And we know that you're going to let us
Yeah.
know what you think we should be doing here.
Yeah, yeah. Because I want to hear
Yeah,
your.
coming back,
we
yes.
can't communicate, but we can communicate by comments.
Yeah, please
So just
subscribe.
let us know what you're thinking, what you're feeling, because these are some trying times.
They
I
are.
tell you, there's
But
no
we shall
doubt
get through
about
them,
it. We will get through them, and that's for sure. See Juanita again. I see Lula. I see Juanita, Aaliyah. Tia, I was trying to contact you on Apologetic Amateur. Okay, I've been trying to contact you. Juanita McClure, all right. So glad that you all check us out and check in. That's what we
That's what
depend
we're
on.
here for. That's what we're
Uh-huh.
here for.
That's what we depend on. Now, again, last I talked with you, I said to you my next project was a children book. And of
Yes.
course, those are the ones we got to really concentrate on in terms of enlightening them
true.
as to who they are and whose they are.
That's right. That's
The
right.
book that I'm producing now, looking forward to, is called What's in a Name?
Mhm.
So that is so very important. My pastor, Dr. Quick, talked Sunday about how he was so hurt when he heard this vice president to be call Kamala Harris. What did he call her?
Trash.
Trash.
That's
Mhm.
terrible.
And it hurt him. He brought back the point that it reminded him of, and he knows that other men felt the same way, black men, the time when they couldn't protect their women.
Mhm.
When they're back in the slave days, when they would come and grab a woman and bring her up to the big house
That's right.
and rape her, and then sometime impregnate her, and then bring her back to our house. And there sometimes she would have babies that belonged to the slave master, and we kept them and had to embrace them as if they were our own. And at the same time, that was messing up your mind.
That's right.
That was telling you you have no control and you have nothing to say. Well, when this, I don't know what to call him, when he made the statement about Kamala Harris being trash, it just, I'm sure, went to the heart of most of our people,
That's
in
right.
particular our men,
Those black
that
men,
that you're gonna trash someone like that. Because if you can trash a lady who's been
the
a
best of
prosecutor,
the best. Yeah.
you can trash a lady who's been attorney general. You can trash a lady who have gone through Harvard University. You can trash a lady who has been the vice president and not running for president. If that's trash, then what are we aspiring to be in the eyes of those people? That's why we can't depend. That we can't go. We can't base our life according to them. We know who we are. We got to let our children know who we are. Black excellence,
That's right.
and not settle for anything less, and not try to appease them, not try to be what they want us to be.
No.
Because we'll never be what they want us to be. And we got to always bring truth to the table.
That's right.
And call it what it is. And that's what Sonny Hobson on The View
Yes.
always trying to do.
Speak truth to power.
Truth to power.
That's right.
And she knows it has nothing to do with the Democrat didn't word their stuff right, or they didn't do this. No. It was racism, clear and simple.
That's right.
Racism, because they were afraid that if they allowed this mixing and mangling and whatever else they figured they were doing, that it's going to eliminate their superiority.
That's right. Their power.
Their power, and they're not going to do that. But we have the same determination about our destiny.
That's right.
We are going to demand that there's things we are not going to allow, and I think we're in a better position to do it now.
We're going to win because we're going to fight.
Yeah, continue the fight.
Yes.
We're very clear. We're used to fighting. Yeah, it's not unlike maybe some people who have been so comfortable all their lives that they didn't have to fight. But we've had to fight. We've never been comfortable. Even when a few of us might have achieved a little bit, we had to look back over our people and say they didn't arrive. They didn't make it. All right. Well, you all, it's just about that time, but I'm telling you, I'm just so glad to be back with you again. Next week, we're going to, hopefully we may have our guest on next week. I'm not sure who we've had lined up now, but it may be. But in any case, we just appreciate you when you come and just continue to listen. And, of course, for those of you who want to donate, you can donate. There's 3 or 4 ways you can donate. You can hashtag $Ruby Shivers, and, of course, Zelle.
That's right.
And, of course, the old-fashioned way, checks, money order, however you want to do it, Cash App. We appreciate you so much.
That's right.
So until next week, we're going to say hi.